What if your phone could grow bigger just by sliding it open and still fit in your pocket? That's the idea behind Samsung's upcoming rollable phone, and a new render gives us a good look at what it might look like. Based on a patent recently granted to Samsung by the US Patent and Trademark Office, this new design might actually solve the biggest problem with foldable phones: bulkiness. The phone in this render was created by Domo-Eye NX Sleek 7. It shows a sleek device with very thin bezels and a unique sliding display. When closed, it looks compact and pocket-friendly. When expanded, it turns into a bigger screen. Great for watching videos, reading, or even playing games. Of course, it's not completely slim. The mechanism that allows the screen to roll out adds some thickness, especially compared to Samsung's regular phones. It also has a camera setup that looks a lot like the one on the Galaxy Z Flip 6, with two lenses and a flash in the upper left corner. Now, this phone isn't just about the hardware. Samsung is also expected to include some smart new AI features. One of the highlights is instant translation. You can speak in your language and see the translated response on your screen right away. That's something that could really help people when traveling or talking to someone who speaks a different language. There's also a tool that can summarize long texts, so if you don't want to read through a huge message, your phone will tell you what it's about in seconds. On top of that, the AI can give you helpful reminders, like when it's time to leave for your next meeting or appointment. In terms of photography, Samsung wants to make the experience easier too. The phone's AI will automatically detect the type of scene you're about to shoot and adjust things like lighting and focus. You just have to point and press the shutter button. It'll also help clean up photos by removing unwanted objects or even changing colors with a single tap. For gamers, this rollable phone might be especially exciting. The system is expected to manage power and heat on its own to keep games running smoothly. And with the extra space on the sides of the device, Samsung could add new gaming controls that pop up when you need them. While many people are still talking about Huawei's Trifold Mate XD, this rollable phone might be a better option in the long run. Motorola is also working on rollable designs, so it seems this could be the next big trend. Rollables don't need multiple hinges or big folds across the screen. They just stretch when you need a bigger display and stay compact the rest of the time. The only downside, the render doesn't show what the device looks like when it's fully expanded. So for now, we can only imagine how big it actually gets. Still, this concept feels like it has real potential. It keeps the convenience of a small phone while giving you a larger screen when you need it, without the extra bulk that comes with foldables. If Samsung pulls this off, the rollable design might turn out to be even more popular than the trifolds. Would you rather have a rollable phone or a foldable one with multiple screens? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates like this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Is the world really ready for a smartphone that folds 3 times? Samsung thinks so. The company is working on a new tri-foldable phone, similar to what Huawei did with the Mate XD. And yes, it could launch later this year. But before you get too excited, there are already some early signs that this phone might not live up to everyone's expectations. Let's start with charging. A trusted insider has revealed that Samsung's tri-foldable only support 25-watt charging, and that's just the advertised speed. In real-world use, it might even be slower. That's disappointing, especially when you compare it to other flagship phones on the market. Take the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, for example. It supports 90-watt wired charging and 80-watt wireless charging, plus 10-watt reverse wireless charging. That's more than triple what Samsung is offering on its new foldable. Other Chinese brands are pushing ahead fast, and some are even getting ready to launch phones with 8,000 mAh batteries. Meanwhile, Samsung is still playing it safe. That's exactly what's frustrating many tech fans. Year after year, they keep asking why Samsung doesn't use newer battery technology or faster charging methods. But there might be a reason for this. Samsung has a massive share of the smartphone market. They don't always rush to add new features. Instead, they take their time to make sure everything works safely and smoothly. Let's not forget the Galaxy Note 7 incident. That phone had battery problems so serious it had to be recalled. Ever since then, Samsung has been extra careful when it comes to battery and charging technology, and that's probably why they're sticking with slower charging speeds for now. Now let's talk cameras. It looks like Samsung might skip under-display cameras for the tri-foldable. These hidden cameras make the display look more uniform, but they're usually not as good as regular cameras. Samsung seems to be thinking that camera quality is more important, at least for now, but this could still change. Some sources say Samsung is still deciding whether to go with under-display or traditional punch-hole cameras, and it really comes down to what users care about more: looks or photo quality. Still, the biggest issue with foldable phones isn't the camera, it's the crease. And this tri-foldable phone will have not one, but 2 creases. Reports say they'll be just like the ones on the Galaxy Z Fold 6. That's not terrible, but it's not invisible either. Interestingly, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 is expected to have a crease that's less visible, which could make a difference for people on the fence. Meanwhile, Apple is watching all of this from the sidelines. The company hasn't launched a foldable yet, but they're working on one, and they're waiting until it's perfect. According to some reports, Apple wants a crease-free foldable iPhone and might release it in 2027, just in time for the 20th anniversary of the original iPhone. That kind of patience might actually pay off. Foldable phones still haven't sold as well as expected, and even Samsung has lowered its sales expectations. As for the tri-foldable, Samsung is planning a very limited launch. The phone could cost over $2,000 and won't be available everywhere. South Korea will be the first to get it, followed by a few other large markets, but don't expect a full global release. Why did Apple suddenly boost iPhone production by 4 million units? It might sound like a surprise move, but once you see what's going on behind the scenes, it all starts to make sense, and Samsung might just be the biggest winner here. Apple has quietly changed its plans for the second quarter of 2025. According to a new report from Morgan Stanley, Apple is now planning to make 45 million iPhones this quarter instead of the earlier 41 million. That's a 15% jump. iPad production is also going up from 11.5 million to 13 million units, which is about a 24% increase compared to the same time last year. So what's driving this sudden increase? A big part of it has to do with tariffs. The ongoing trade tension between the US and China continues to create uncertainty, especially as the Trump administration signals that tariff policies might change again. Right now, some tech products like phones are temporarily excluded from US tariffs, but that could change fast. Apple doesn't want to be caught off guard, so it's acting now, before any cost hikes kick in. By increasing production early, Apple can build up inventory and avoid rushing if tariffs hit harder later. It's a smart way to stay ahead of the game and make sure shelves stay stocked even as supply chains get messy. But that's not all. Apple is also making big moves to spread out its manufacturing. Right now, a lot of its devices are made in China and Vietnam, but those countries could face tariff hikes of up to 145% and 46% respectively. That's a massive risk for a company like Apple. To manage that, they're increasing production in India and even starting to make some iPhones in Brazil, especially the new iPhone 16e. What's really interesting here is how Samsung and other South Korean companies benefit from all this. Apple might be making the devices, but it doesn't make everything in-house. It relies heavily on suppliers for key components. Samsung Display, LG Display, and LG Innotek are major players in Apple's supply chain. They supply things like OLED screens and camera modules. In fact, more than 80% of LG Innotek's income last year came from Apple orders. Samsung Display is also deeply connected to Apple, with around 40% of its revenue tied to them. So when Apple boosts production by millions of units, it doesn't just help Apple. It gives a major boost to these South Korean companies too. That's why Samsung, even as a rival smartphone maker, stands to benefit in a big way from Apple's latest production shift. One important detail: these extra devices aren't brand new models. They're current generation iPhones and iPads that are already on the market. Apple is simply making more of what's already out there to avoid last-minute problems later on. It's also a way to make the transition into the launch of the iPhone 17 smoother. That launch is expected later this year, and by front-loading the production of existing devices now, Apple can focus more on its next big release when the time comes. In the end, this is all about smart planning. Apple doesn't want to wait around for policies to change. It's choosing to act now so it can stay in control. Whether or not tariffs go up, the company will have a strong inventory ready, and its supply chain will be more flexible and spread out than ever. And with Samsung and other South Korean suppliers playing a bigger role in all of this, the impact reaches far beyond Apple alone. If you found this interesting, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more updates like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.